Give everybody a chance to make it back in, brother. Looks like a gorgeous day down there, brother.
Oh yeah, no, it's really nice right now. It's like perfect.
Yeah. We've had off
right
and
now.
on
It's
rain.
probably still in the 80s.
Yeah, we've had close to 70 today, but it's been off and on rain all day. Oh well, we need that too.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah. Exactly. Yeah, I hate how they act like that in the courts though, because I mean I'm there, and you know I was they punked me too before, you know, like the way they act, you know, they like bully you in there and make it seem like you have no other options, and if you don't do this, you're gonna go to jail, and yeah, that sucks. But I mean, I folded because I just didn't stand my square, you know, which I should have done.
Yeah, and see, I ended up going to jail on my last case too, but
And that's why I get into these calls, because I was like, you know, I'm gonna. Yeah.
And the thing of it is though, that was 6th offense possession. Now all 5 previous offenses, I had a public pretender because I didn't really know what I was doing yet. And
right.
all 5 times I got max penalties, 2 years and the max fines and all this and that. But this time, by telling the attorney to fuck off, you say any word in one word in there on my behalf, I'm going to hold you liable. He didn't say a word. And I was cussing and swearing at him. I was flipping him a bird. I called them communist bastards, everything. And I ended up with just 60 days in jail with the fines and everything. And then they told me I had to give a DNA sample and a drug eval. Well, when I ended up doing 47 days of the 60, was let out on early discharge for good behavior. And I walked out refusing to sign anything. And that's been 5 years ago. And they have yet to enforce any of it. DNA sample, drug eval, fines, anything. Every 6 months, I call up the Department of Treasury and ask them if there's any debts listed against the name or the number. Nope. So I already know that their bullshit is just bullshit. Try to charge me again, because I've already got documents saying I was discharged and then never signed any release papers. I never leased my services again. And that's truly what it's all about.
Yeah, no, I mean, I never even thought about it like that. You know, I mean, I had like little bits and pieces of things here and there, but I never really put that part of it together as far as like contracting.
Yeah.
You know,
that's what it is. It's all contracting, every last bit of it. And as long as you don't contract, sorry, don't know what to tell you.
Yeah, exactly. Because you're not a part of it. Like you said, you're not leasing, releasing, or you're not a part of it.
Yeah.
I mean, you're saying I'm not accepting that.
Yeah, and they have no way to deal with it, because they have to, like I said earlier, they're trying to form a contract, and they need your signature to perfect it for the trust. That's why they need the 3. It's a trust. So if you want to, you just go in there, you acknowledge the contract, you put your name on the contract, identifying yourself appropriately as the principal and the settler, and you make put your fee on there for operating in the contract. If they refuse to pay you in that contract, you now have proof of breach of the contract in constructive trust. And you can prove the constructive trust part, because now there's 3 parties.
Yeah, some of that's going to take me a little bit more to study just to get that ingrained in my brain. But I mean, I'm getting the concept of it though. But yeah, I definitely need to study.
And it really is simple, guys. I'm going to start putting forth some simple contracts that I can find online from the things that they put out. The post office puts out a form 4245 that they have since quit putting out. But if you look it up, it's just a little brown envelope. And on the envelope, it tells you the simple contract. That's one of the simplest contracts I've ever seen. And it was used by the post office. And if when I find it, I'll go ahead and post it. Matter of fact, when I get done here, I'll go ahead and post it on this one. But for now, we got King back on. King was telling us about his own experience. So why don't we go ahead and just start over, King, because we got kind of cut short there. And I know you got a lot more to say.
I'm not going to take up, I'm just going to give about 2 minutes because I really need your piece. Your piece finalize everything that I've done because everything that you've done align with everything that I'm doing. So it's a lock and key process. First of all, you need to understand the Constitution. As a foreign power, states are mute. They cannot deal with foreign powers. They do not have the delegation of authority by Congress. States cannot deal with a foreign power. So I try to tell people, if you understand the Constitution and how it's erected and what to do, is when you go into court, they have to have jurisdiction. So that's why they're looking for the contract for you to be a part of so that they can enforce the contract. No contract is a mute issue. They do not have the venue. They have to prove venue. Now they have to also prove standing. Standing is proof of contract. So when you look, if you do like a bill of particulars or anything, they must prove the contractual nature. When we're talking about the nature and cause, their common law is what? Admiralty in maritime jurisdiction. If you're not operating in those capacities, if your contracts say non-commercial activity, they cannot bring you into a commercial venue because they do not have the status. If you understand the privilege under the rules of evidence, they have what they call a privilege standard. Look up your federal and state law as it relates to privilege, and it will tell you the definition for its privilege. Privilege is status, relationship. One of the is status, relationship, status, relationship. There's other parts to it. You just have to go look it up. Look at your state as it relates to the rules of evidence. Then they have, every state should have what they call a choice of law rule.
UCC 1-103.6.
It's a choice of law rule. It's a standard. So if you understand the laws of secession, that's why I talk about the will being the law of testamentary in the laws of secession. All nations practice this. So by default, you never, by never constructing a will and never putting everything in order under these power of attorneys, like Keith is telling you, what happens by default, you are in the jurisdiction, so they administer your estate. Look up the laws of secession as it relates to rights and under that. So a will, I did something today. A will is dealing with your right of choice. That is your ultimate inalienable right. That's why they cannot trespass against you. And there's only 2 crimes. There is contempt and there's fraud. Contempt and fraud. So if you look up the word contempt and you look up the word temptation, they're of the same construction. You just got con on the front.
And that's what notice is. Notice is notice, tice being the etymological origin of tempt. So it says no tempt.
Under the rule, civil rule, look, if you go to your civil rules of your state, it says it says it's only one form of action known shall be known as the civil action. So
rule number 2.
They have a rule under civil rules of procedure, rule 44 and 44.1. It's talk about your foreign law, if you're trying to use foreign law. And then they have the same rule under criminal rule under Ohio, I think it's 56 or 29. I'm not for sure. And it states that same rule. You must put the, before you go to any court, you must put them on notice. The court must.
And rule 11 is the important one that I like to use because it goes along with that signature part. When I walked out of jail, I didn't give them a signature. Rule 11 talks about their documents, their paper. Every paper has to have a signature. Otherwise, it's not valid. I'm not signing it. My signature is what makes it valid.
Right.
Ain't signing it no more. Done.
So what I've been trying to get, what I was doing in the past, you licensed your DNA, your fingerprint, your face, your everything, so that it's put into trust, and somebody else has, you set up an organization and they have those documents. If they're in this for non-commercial capacity, so if they're trying to do commerce with your name, your fingerprints, your footprint, your handprint, your everything about you, your DNA, all of that is licensed for non-commercial use.
Yep. And then they turn around and sign you as agent, and then you operate in that agent capacity as the principal because they can't. It's their principal, like I said, it's the money of account. That's at Federal Reserve. And as long as you're using it, you're the one that's signing as the principal when you go into that bank. And that's why that bank is giving you the money. They assume the same thing. You're not the principal of that money of account. You're principal of what is real, not the fiction.
So this is what I suggest that people understand. It takes a machine to deal with a machine. We have to stop. We have to set up an organization that has multiple components that's already constructed to handle specific matters so that you don't get stressed out trying to deal with that because somebody's already knowing how to effectively communicate.
Right.
So now it's already taken care of, and now they must prove their thing. They must prove standing before they can even move forward with venue. So standing got to be given first. Then you're talking about venue. Now we're talking about jurisdiction. And that's dealing in contracts. So you have to, everything comes in threes. That's why it's called law: land, air, and water. It is dealing with the rights of succession, your rights of inheritance. So they have what they, if you understand contract law, they call it, look it up, a take it or leave it contract. They impose their will in the contract. And that's why banks take promissory notes, because they have the right to inherit what you promised them.
Yep. Adhesion contracts.
Exactly. So y'all have to understand the development of contract law as it deals in these nations.
That, folks, is an adhesion contract. Like I said, just by using them, you are adhering to their contract. That means this is the contract. If they catch, yep, same thing right there. That's an adhesion contract. They catch you with their property on you. Their property is merely nothing but contracts. That's all they can own is a contract. They catch you with one of their contracts. You are, in fact, adhering to the contract. You have to be able to rebut the contract. I'm sorry, this is the only species I have available to use unless you'd like to exchange it for those US dollars like you're supposed to.
Hey, it's Napoleon here. What's up, brother?
How you doing, brother?
Hey, man, sorry I'm late.
That's all right. We're this is actually a bonus. It already ended, and King was in the middle of explaining. He's one of our brothers that's got some shit going on that he knows what he's doing, and he's finding that we're of like minds, and we're going to get together. He was just speaking about the electronic form today, and he's right on key, because everything is stoppable through your own internet site if that's what you set up as your post office.
Dot post.
Yep.
Cool, man.
So you set up your own post office, and it has plenipotentiary powers of courts, banks, and all transfers.
Cool.
Customs.
Cool. Well, let's make it work, man.
Has to clear the customs.
Right. I've got everything.
That's not the customary instrument I use. Send that shit back. I use the stuff that's perfect. These guys can't even color in between the lines. They're using color of law.
Perfect anything.
Suckers.
You don't have to perfect anything. It's already perfected.
Yeah. When you set up your own site, guys, you can get your own electronic NIAX codes, program them right into your virtual private network, so that any information that's trying to get in has to pass the NIAX codes first. If there's something wrong with the patent, copyright, trademark, trade name, sorry. If it's a commercial element, sorry. Anything from an attorney, sorry. You can set up all these parameters through NIAX codes. And I discussed this in one of the Zooms.
You can do that. You can do that in your private capacity anyway.
Well, yeah, and that's what I'm talking about. But most people don't. Even I didn't think about that when I started building my site. I went to another site builder and started working off them, which is to my convenience and my advantage at the point, though, because I'm learning things that I wouldn't have learned otherwise, like the NIAX codes. Now I'm learning that the dot post is where I want to go and not just the dot art. So I may keep the dot art and make a dot post site and remove my dot art from the BraveNet and get it on my own dot art web and do the NIAX codes for both of them.
Right. So
Got a question about the dot post. So what site do you go? Do you just pick any domain?
No.
Or how did that work?
It's a special registry. It's exclusive.
Right. The dot post you have to get through validation process, and that's an international realm. And that's why I say we got to go through and do those foundational documents, which are the contracts. But they're not actual contracts. They're just in contract form, called negotiation agreements, which is same as contract arbitration, just different terminology. So you're using negotiation agreements, which is the same level that they use on peace treaties, and contract arbitration if you do contracts.
How does the USPTO or USPO look at this, or UPU?
The UPU, they're the ones that establish all this stuff.
It's international, so it's UPU. I mean, that's senior. That's
it's Swiss Confederation. The Swiss Confederation is where the federal chancellor is.
It's superior to post office, right?
Huh?
It's superior to post office, USPTO, USPS.
Yeah, it's the governing body of all post stations.
Like
remember, people, the post offices are all Marine stations, and that comes directly from the headquarters of Marine Corps, Military Field Patrol Unit 3 or Level 3. I can't remember which it is, but they state right there that the post offices are Marine stations, and these Marine stations are inland, and their insurance is known as Inland Marine Insurance, and it is offered through the Social Security Administration.
Can you whiteboard this? The communication lines between all these different divisions, departments, and whatnot.
Well, eventually, that's what we're going to do when we enter our irrevocable letter of credit on the federal docket through the postmaster.
No, I'm saying as you're describing things, can you whiteboard it? Can you draw them out? Box chart. Oh,
eventually I will. Yeah. But this is just all learning. We're all learning together, folks. I've done a lot of research, but I expect you guys will be doing research with us. And anything you come across that I haven't mentioned, please mention it to me. If you've got questions, please ask them, because there are questions that I ask that I don't
How does
know
this,
anything other. I need more questions, and I am open-minded.
I have
There
a
are
question.
questions I don't think of.
I have another question. How does this compare to or supersede the secured party process?
Because that's a commercial lien process. You have to submit yourself to a commercial process first and
Right.
agree that there's a fractional value.
And you have to surrender and cash in the bond
Right.
in order to charge against it and all that good stuff. And you have to use UCC1, UCC3.
Right.
And all-
And don't get me wrong, folks, you can do that if you want to. If you've got property you want to invest, such as gold or silver, and you want to set them up in escrow and then develop a UCC off of that, so you can start using a special drawing right, you can do that. That's technically what the UCC is for special drawing rights, so that you can provide an asset to draw the Federal Reserve notes off of the account, because there's an agreement that you have assets for the Federal Reserve to attain if you are held liable for any kind of fraud.
Is that where you
That's
need
the only reason
21
you ever need. That's the only reason you ever need assets, is if you need to put them up against liability for fraud for conducting commercial transactions at a fractional value,
How much silver do you need? 21 pieces minimum?
whatever you want.
Does it matter? As long as-
$1 is enough to get started.
Well, I mean, that's not the, does that limit?
$1, I believe $1 will do a birth certificate, and that's that. I think you can put a value on that. I can't remember if it's 25 million or 2.5 million. I think it's 25 million.
On one piece of silver, one silver.
Their $25 million worth of Federal Reserve notes is still not worth a penny.
I know, that's true. Right, that's absolutely
They
right.
have to accept it, otherwise expose that fraud.
Fucking toilet paper.
That's the acceptance of value.
Right.
You said that it's got a value of $25 million in Federal Reserve notes. I want the $25 million in Federal Reserve notes.
Promises, what are they called? Promises to pay.
They're not promises to pay anymore. They're not even legal tender anymore.
How's that?
Legal tender is a negotiable instrument.
Right.
You can't write on a $1 bill.
They're not
Buy a bunch of paper and write that up as a negotiable instrument.
legal tender or lawful tender?
Legal tender is a negotiable instrument. Means you have to be able to negotiate. You have to be able to line item veto, and either as the underwriter underwrite it, or as the overwriter overwrite it. He goes through and line item vetoes and underwrite something. You agree and say, oh, but or I'm going to line item veto through yours, and I'm going to write up here an even better term.
Well, dollars are promissory notes.
They're not.
No.
Are they debt notes?
Dollars are coins.
I'm talking about dollar bills.
That's a dollar bill. That's
Yeah.
a bill for $1.
That's what I mean.
Yeah, I've got a bill for $1. You owe me $1.
Okay, Bill.
That dollars, but yeah, that's a dollar bill, and you're supposed to be able to exchange that bill, an international bill of exchange. They use that as an exchange rate for foreign currency, so it is in fact and can be discerned as an international bill of exchange. Plain language.
Right.
Don't know what to tell you.
So how many people are onto this method, or is this another well-practiced method in the private, on the private side?
I don't know of anybody that's learning how to take over the electronic system.
Is it rare? That's an interesting phrase. I mean,
I don't know anybody. Matter of fact, I just posted a post today. Let me pull it up.
who would be on guard for that kind of thing? Would anyone be would raise an eyebrow? Any official, like postmaster general or?
Well, pay attention and let me explain it. Because I just told you, I posted a post today. because I've got a buddy that posted something and they keep giving him shit. And so I had to post it
Screen share.
because I am not going to let anybody play any bullshit. You know me. Y'all know me.
Yeah. Can you
So here
screen
we go. And what it is he posted, it starts out my post. Facebook fact checkers have flagged a post stating missing context. The same information was checked in another post by independent fact checkers. And what they were doing was trying to say this man's post was partly false. And when I checked on it, it said the fact checkers said that there was missing context. Well, I don't see any missing context because they were saying there is no such concept of quantum electronic financials.
Oh,
And so what I did was I did my own research. He was trying to point out that Microsoft and other things use the data elements as quantum financial system. And it says the fact checkers are absolutely wrong in that determination as proved herein. And so I put forth the proof to coordinate, and this is a quote, to coordinate a national research effort encompassing federal agencies, plural agencies, the academic community in whole, and industry leaders already underway, released a strategic vision for America's quantum financial system networks in February of last year.
QFS has been up for a while.
Yeah. So then I went on and I said, first, fact checkers need to get off their lazy fucking asses. Link contains above quote. So I posted that link. www.quantum.gov. Don't tell me the government has no knowledge of the Quantum Information Network, you dumbasses. Fact your checks. Check your facts. Whatever you got to do. Second, fact checkers need to get off their lazy fucking asses. Another one, www.quantum.gov, a strategic vision for quantum government. Strategic documents at the same site. Another site, www.insidequantumtechnology.com, talking about the technology, quantum government. White House, quantum government using quantum government technology. Well, of course, science.osti.gov. So now we've got the technology and the science behind the technology and a community external resources. U.S. Department of Energy. Oh my. How deep does this go, folks? You know, I mean,
The rabbit hole is bottomless.
Quantum Computer Report, White House National. Again, White House. Who are these fucking fact checkers, folk? So I went on, I said 9th, and then the 10th. If Facebook is paying these fools as fact checkers, then Facebook is getting screwed or complicit in the stupidity and laziness. 11th, in either case of the 10th point, Facebook is liable. .com extension. They are liable. Have a great day. Let's see you flag this post, you fucking morons. Now, it's been up 4 hours. Ain't been flagged yet. So we'll see how long this one lasts, huh? And this is based on the very post that this guy tried to enter in on my group page, and the fact checker said it was missing context. They haven't mentioned any missing context here, have they? I think I filled in all that context for him.
You talking about Justice Man?
Yeah.
I had that guy on my lines too for a while. He's not cool.
And see, when people start trying to bother you with this stuff, you just got to pose the truth. Posing the truth means you got to do your research. And just by doing a little 5-10 minutes worth of research and copying those links, done, over with. I dare you to rebut it. I dare you to tell me I'm posting false information like Justice Man. Tell me that I'm posting false information.
That's just the Swift system lovers trying to keep it alive because it's dying.
Yeah. Well, it's like I said, on my internet site, and I post it, no qualms, and it's been up there over 6 months now, folks. Hiring an attorney proves one is incompetent. You already have counsel. Ask and ye shall receive. And I guarantee you, I hand this site out as much as I can. And I'm getting ready to print up some cards so I can hand it out even more.
Way to go.
Dot art. They cannot come at me with the compensatory terms on a dot art site saying that what I'm stating is false because it's already internationally accepted. Nobody's rebutted it. And if they try to rebut it, you better ask the right counsel.
How does that work, Keith? How do you know that? What you just said? How do you know that?
That they can't rebut it?
Yeah. I'm not disputing or refuting. I'm asking how you know that, so I can know. You know what I'm saying? Do you know what I'm saying?
Yes, I do.
I'm asking, like, how do you put two and two together, I guess, in layman's terms.
Wherein God wherein God, this is Hebrews 6, verse 17, wherein God willing more abundantly to shew unto the heirs of promise the immutability of his counsel. So when I seek counsel, I don't need your fucking attorney. You get it? You got it? You better keep it. Confirmed it by an oath. I don't need your oath. I don't accept your oath. I've already accepted his. You get it? Got it? Keep it.
Thank you very much.
Very blunt.
Thank you.
And they can't rebut it. Very simple truths in that Bible, folks. Let me see. I think it's Hebrews 6:13. Yes. Hebrews 6:13. For when God made promise to Abraham, that's the promise I accept. I don't accept your illicit promise because he could swear by no greater. He swore by himself. 6:14. Let's do 6:13 through 20, I think it is. We'll get the whole concept. Should have done that first place. Saying, surely blessing I will bless thee, and multiplying I will multiply thee. And so after he had patiently endured, he obtained the promise. For men verily swear by the greater, and an oath for confirmation is to them an end of all strife. Wherein God, willing more abundantly to shew up unto the heirs of promise the immutability of his counsel, confirmed it by an oath, that by two immutable things, two witnesses, in which it was impossible for God to lie, we might have a strong consolation who have fled for refuge to lay hold upon the hope set before us, which hope we have as an anchor of the soul, both sure and steadfast. Steadfast, meaning stand fast. For he spaketh, and it stood fast, and which entereth into that within the veil.
Shoot.
Whither the forerunner is for us entered, even Jesus, made an high priest forever after the order of Melchizedek.
Would you say shoe? That
Shoe.
word shoe?
Shoe.
Oh, it shows different show, right? That's the old version, old way of spelling show.
Yes.
Seldom used, I guess is a proper.
Correct.
Right. Like postulate or crepuscule, which means twilight or darkness. A lot of words in there. I gotta look up.
Psalms 33 verse 9, for he spake and it was done. He commanded and it stood fast.
Okay.
I don't relinquish to your demands.
Spake is past
stand-
tense.
I am steadfast to his commands.
That's for speak, like spoke. Yep.
My yea is my yea, my nay is my nay, for they are his will.
I guess that's a yes.
So what else, guys? That power of attorney is something else if you assert it right. You put it up there at that customs office at that .post site.
You have to notice any of them to revoke power of attorney, assumed power of attorney.
Yeah, you give a durable power of attorney in fact, and in that durable power of attorney in fact, you make a presentment in there that you hereby revoke all other previous assumed, presumed, applied powers of attorney.
You eschew their presumptions.
Correct.
Right. Big word. Eschew. Eschew. It's like sneezing.
So, and again, it really is that simple. And guys, it's, if you're listening to these guys doing these UCCs and stuff, and this is how important it is to get down to the simple language. They're putting these UCCs, and on that collateral, they list all this big, huge chunk of all these different things for collateral. All real and personal effects. That's it. I have immutable promise of his protection under his full armor
Eschew.
of all real and personal effects.
Wow.
Everybody makes too much of it. That's my will, because that's his will. That's my living will. I don't need to write it down. You want to write it down? Get a stenographer. You pay the stenographer. You pay all charges. Because I ain't charging nobody nothing. That's not equal. You want equal consideration? Then you better be willing to do it for free, and you better find somebody that's willing to sit down as a stenographer and do it for free. Because ain't none of you charging me. I'm the one that does the charging around here, and here's my fee. Oh, that's a little bit more expensive than what you guys can handle. I'm sorry. Maybe I ought to give you a donation. Here, since you already involved me in these proceedings, here's $15,000 for you, $15,000 for me. And since I got to donate to everybody equally to make this equal consideration, equal benefit, I get $15,000 too. Have a good day, folks.
And you can take that to the bank.
Yeah, and it's all credit. And where does it come from? Your word of mouth. You just make it happen. It's unlimited credit. They have to admit that they have to give you all the credit you need in fairness and righteousness. And if they want to sit there and deny that contract, well, we can't give him 15,000. He only gave us 15,000. See what happens? You put them in a spot that they can't deny, people.
Yeah. But that doesn't mean they won't try.
Well, they better think about trying again, because next time I might put in a conservator order and have them tested for competency. Because this first time I'm going to let them know they're violating, but I'm going to forgive them for that violation. And that's why they're getting the 15,000, because I want my 15,000 too. And in me getting my 15,000 and them getting their 15,000, despite the fact that they were committing fraud, means any attempt to accuse me of anything automatically redeems me in that same forgiveness.
That can be any amount, right?
Correct.
Up
You
to
just got to be
25.
reasonable. Like I said earlier, you can't be patient these $25 million claim. Be reasonable. Do a reasonable assessment. When you give them that fee schedule, make it reasonable. Yeah, I charge $200 a sheet. $200 a sheet for every document I have to put out. $500 for every hour I have to research. Now, most of the research I've already got done, so I've got some that's already drawn up, and I'll give you that discount. But anything